and gentlemen, and welcome to a wonderful, beautiful Friday. That means we have another Coach's Corner. As always, I am Coach Andy, head coach at CrossFit Tradewinds, and this week we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, and that is Olympic lifting. So today we're going to discuss what the Olympic lifts are, the two different ones, as well as some of their benefits and why we should be doing them. So first, let's get into it. What are the Olympic lifts? There are two of them. The first one is known as the clean and jerk. It's a compound motion consisting of a clean and an overhead press. Your second one is a snatch, which takes an object and brings it overhead in one fluid motion. Now, each one of these has different variations. We have what's known as muscle, power, and squat, and both of these, the clean and the snatch, can be performed in both of those. And essentially what that means is we're just receiving the bar in a different depth. Muscle being no bend in the knee, power being a slight bend in the knee, and squat being catching that bar in the very bottom of a squat position. But overall, that's basically what the Olympic lifts are. And they're not easy, which is probably why they show up in the Olympics, because if they were easy, then everyone could do them and it wouldn't be challenging to complete them. But regardless, they are very, very challenging, and a lot of athletes spend a majority of their time in the gym actually focusing on these two movements. So again, just to recap, the first Olympic lift we have is the clean and jerk, which is a compound movement consisting of the clean, which takes something and brings it up to the front rack across the shoulders, followed by the jerk, which is an overhead press, getting the bar up and overhead from the shoulders. And the second one we have is what's known as the snatch, and that brings something, a barbell, all the way up and overhead in one fluid motion. Now, most athletes consider the snatch to be the harder of the two, but it all depends on which one you focus on more. For myself, I prefer the snatch. It's actually my favorite movement, but again, that's just me. I've also spent a lot of time focusing on my snatch and building it up to where it is today. Probably something I should do with my clean at this point. But anyway, so they're difficult. So why do them? Right? If it's hard, nobody wants to do anything that's hard. So why should we Olympic lift? Well, they have multiple benefits. And first and foremost is they're a super technically complicated movement. And since it's very technically complicated, that means that you are required to move through various pieces that require a lot of technique to get it done, which means there's a lot of thinking that happens. If you want to become a better moving athlete, there's almost nothing that can teach you how to move better than the Olympic lifts. And secondly, they're super explosive. Have you ever heard a football coach or any other sports coach talk about explosive power? Right? The ability to cut down the field or jump or bob and weave in between defenders. Anything like that, it's super important in sports and everyday life. And guys, nothing builds explosive power like the Olympic lifts. They are super explosive, super fast, super technical, as we just discussed, which means that there are a lot of moving parts, which means to nail these things down takes a long time. Thirdly, it's a whole body workout. Both the clean and jerk and the snatch require everything from calves to shoulders to triceps and forearms. So literally, there is no better way to get a full body workout than to do actually Olympic lifts. And last but not least, they are some of the most rewarding things that you can do. Do a heavy back squat, a 1 rep max back squat, right? And you come out from underneath that bar and some athletes have described it as losing a piece of their soul, right? Being almost soul crushing. Olympic lifts, you hit that perfect squat clean, that perfect squat snatch. Sitting in the bottom of that position, you know you've got it solid, and all you got to do is stand up. It literally feels like the heavens have opened. Angels are singing, birds are singing, colors are brighter, sounds are louder, smells are more fragrant. It is absolutely one of the most joyous moments that I've ever had in the gym, PRing a squat snatch or a clean and jerk. It's not to say it's easy. It takes a lot of time and a lot of work. But as I mentioned, it is one of the most rewarding things that you can do. It's like that first time you get a muscle up. For those of you that have done it, it's awe-inspiring. It's wonderful. And I can't talk about it enough. But guys, essentially, right, so just to recap, 2 Olympic lifts, the clean and jerk and the snatch, and the benefits behind doing them, even though they're difficult. Super high in technique, which is very good for building technically sound movement. Very explosive to build that explosive power. It requires your entire body, so it gives you a whole body workout. And they are super rewarding. So if you guys ever contemplated, getting into Olympic lifting, or if you've always kind of put it off to the side because you didn't really understand why you do it, well, now you know a little bit more. And if you want to know even more, we do have a barbell club starting up in the last weekend in April 28th. And that'll run for 4 weeks. We'll go over the clean and jerk and the snatch, a lot of accessory movements. Time is running out to register, so make sure you do it quick. I'm running it, I'm pumped about it, and I'm excited to see all you guys there. So that's it for this Friday. I look forward to talking to you guys next week. If you got any questions, feel free to reach out. But other than that, have a great weekend and go crush some workouts.